What I'd like to do is show you how to navigate the space and also how to draw a couple of lines. So for now, simply click on New and open up that drawing template. And if you don't see it listed here, go on Browse Templates and then just open it from there. Go ahead and click Open. We're not going to be saving anything here. This is just us experimenting with the interface. I just want to show you how you draw in AutoCAD. So we're going to begin by drawing lines. So to draw the line, I would come up here to the Home tab, Draw Panel, Line. And all you have to do is just click on Line. That's one way to do it. So go ahead and click on that. And when you click on Line, you'll see that it's saying, go ahead and specify the first point. It's basically asking, where would you like to start? And I can either type in coordinates or I can simply click on the screen. So all I want you to do right now is just click on the screen one time, anywhere you'd like to. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to move my cursor around. And this is what they call the rubber banding effect. So I have picked one point, and now it's waiting for the second point, right? Specify the next one. And you'll notice as I move my cursor around, you'll see how it locks into 0 degrees here. And then it also locks into 45 and 90. And that's because I have what's called polar tracking turned on. And it's down here. And I'm going to turn it off. If any of you have it on, just go ahead and turn it off. We can discuss this later. So leave that one off. And now it's not going to give me that guide. And I'm simply going to click here for my second point. And as soon as I do that, it says, go ahead, specify the next point. Okay, so I specify another point, and it doesn't matter where you pick. I just want you to get comfortable drawing lines. Now the next point, I can go ahead and take it all the way over here, click, and you notice how it's giving me the length of the line. It's also giving me the angle, which is helpful. I'll go ahead and click. And I'll just do a couple more. One, and then maybe two like this. Get a feel for that. It's helpful that you feel comfortable clicking on the screen there to draw the lines. When you have put enough lines in there and you're ready to stop, what you need to do, what we need to do is go ahead and terminate the line command. And to terminate the line command, you can enter. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to enter on my keyboard. So I'll tap it like that. And when I enter, I'm out. That's how I can draw lines. Another way to draw a line, you'll notice that if I hover up here and I clicked on it, down at the bottom of my screen, it actually typed it in for me. It typed in the command line. So I can actually type the word line in there like this. When I type line, it's listing it for me as a command. And all I have to do now is enter. And it will accomplish the same thing. So I can use my keyboard for this. So I can go ahead and draw another line. Now, if you go to start another line and you hover somewhere here, for example, like me, and it's telling me that it found an intersection, or maybe it finds an endpoint over here, that's because I have my object snaps turned on. And we'll talk about these object snaps later. But if you're not comfortable with that right now, you can go ahead and just click here to toggle object snaps off. And now when you hover, it's not going to show you anything. You'll notice, though, that I'm still getting something here called tracking. If you don't want to see that either, go ahead and come down here to your icons and turn off or toggle object snap tracking off. Okay, now when I go to draw, I'm free. It's not going to find any intersection or any endpoint. It's not going to track anything. And I can just go ahead and draw more lines like this. And I'm just putting lines on top of lines. When I want to finish drawing lines, I use the Enter key on my keyboard. Well, I can also right-click and select Enter out of my options. This is my right-click menu. So I simply enter. And I complete drawing lines. Now, at this point, I can right-click again. And when I right-click, it opens up that same pop-up menu, and it says, would you like to repeat the line? And I could. So I click on it, and then I'm back at drawing lines. So This is AutoCAD's way of helping you stay consistent. And a lot of times in AutoCAD, we need to draw several lines, and that's all we're going to be doing. So this is how it's helpful to use. So let's say I don't want to now, right? I've drawn enough lines and I accidentally did this. All I have to do is tap the escape key and I'm out. So that clears it. That's drawing lines. Now let's go ahead now and draw a circle. And I want to show you circle because with circle, if I come over here, again, home tab, draw panel, circle, there's a drop down. And if I click on that drop down, it shows me that I can draw a circle using different options. I can use a center and then a radius. I can find my center and then diameter, which is actually twice the radius. I can draw a 2-point circle, a 3-point. I can do something here called a tangent radius. And then I can draw a circle based on 3 tangent points. So what I'd like to do is just go ahead and click on center radius. And when you do that, all you have to do is find any point on the screen, let it be your center point, click it, and now it says specify radius of the circle. And you'll see that it's showing you the same thing down at the command line. So make it as big as you want, and I'll just simply click. And what's really nice here is that it terminates the command automatically because there's no way to get stuck in a loop here. So I want to draw a circle again. So I'll go back to my icon, but this time instead of clicking on the down arrow, because that is the last option I selected, it's going to default to a center and a radius. So I'll just go ahead and click on that icon and then draw another circle somewhere, like let's say here. And I'm actually going to have the circle go really, really big. Okay. And go ahead. Let's all make a big circle here because the next thing I want to introduce is navigating the space. So make it as big as you can. Okay. Let it go ahead and fall off of the screen there, out of the area that we're seeing, and just go ahead and click. So let's move on to the next part of this intro, which is how do I move around in this space? Similar to other programs, that middle wheel mouse or whatever it's called, the button in the middle there, go ahead and take that wheel and roll it down. And as you roll it down, you're going to zoom out. And now what I want you to do is go ahead and move your mouse and just move it to, let's say over here to the right side of the screen. And now zoom in by rolling the wheel mouse up. And when you do that, you'll notice that it wants to zoom to that area where you have the mouse. Or I'm sorry, where you have the cursor. You see that? And now if I zoom out, and now I move my mouse over here to the left side, and I zoom in, notice how it wants to zoom into that area. So it focuses wherever you have your cursor as you're zooming in and out. So what happens if I put my cursor over here in the lower left-hand corner and I start to zoom out? It's trying to center it based on that location. So just be mindful of that. So usually when I zoom in and out, I try to stay somewhere in the center of my drawing, and I go ahead and zoom it in and out. And this is important to do in AutoCAD because we are going to be starting with smaller drawings, but eventually they're going to get to be bigger drawings, floor plan, for example. And there's going to be a bit of information on the screen, and you want to be able to zoom in and out. So the next thing I want to show you is how to pan, because we need to move around our drawing. And this one, we're still going to use the wheel mouse, but what we're going to do this time is actually click and drag it. So when you click down on it, as I'm going to do right now, you notice how it changes to a hand. And all I'm going to do is keep holding that wheel button down, and I'm just dragging my mouse. So that allows me to pan. And I'll do it again, click and drag to pan. Click and drag to pan. So these are very, very important, being able to navigate the space. So now watch this. I'm able to zoom out, pan, zoom in, pan. Go ahead and practice that. and see if you can do it at a decent pace. You don't need to do it at lightning speed pace. Just be able to manipulate that, being able to just move around the drawing. So now that you're able to zoom and you're able to pan and you're able to combine these, now I'm going to challenge all of you. What I'd like you to do is just pan and zoom to an area of the screen, more or less where you were at the very beginning of class. And here's what I'm going to challenge that you do. Try to draw a line from inside of the big circle to the outside of it, and pan and zoom while you're in the middle of the command. So here, I'll go back to my line icon. I'll click on it. So somewhere here. And then I want you to zoom out and pan while you're in the middle of this command so that you can draw the line outside of the big circle. So I'm going to put it over here. And then I challenge you to draw a few lines and take yourself around that circle. This is just good practice, keeping you within that one command. And I want you to feel confident being able to pan and zoom. And you're not going to be able to close it. Oh, no, wait, you can close it. That's something else I wanted to show you. Look at my options on my command line. It says specify next point, or you can type C for close. And if I type C, and I've been making one single set of line segments here, and I enter, oh, it's going to close it right back. Haha, it started in the middle here. That's why it did that. Okay, so it did close. I thought for sure it was going to close out here, but I was mistaken. It's closing. It came back to where I had started my line. And when I click close, that automatically takes me out of my line command. One more command to show you, and then we will go to our drawing assignment. In this drawing right now, you've noticed that I've been doing a lot of panning, a lot of zooming, a lot of drawing, and sometimes I can end up being either too close to my drawing or perhaps too far away. And I want to come in and basically just reset and take a look at everything on my screen, everything that I've drawn. I want to see the extent of it. So what you can do is you can take that wheel mouse and you can give it a double click. And when you do that, that's what's called a zoom extents. Now, on my mouse, I always seem to have issues trying to give it that double click and getting it to work. So it doesn't always work. So I rely on my trusted commands, and I simply type Z because that's the keyboard shortcut for zoom. I enter. And then if you look at my options of the command line, there's one option there called extents. And if I just type the capitalized letter there, capital E, and enter, it will accomplish the goal that I want. So I type E, enter. And this is a zoom extents, and it's showing me the extent of my drawing. This is as much as I have completed. Now watch this. If I decide to draw, let's say, another circle, and I'll draw the circle here, and I'm going to make it pretty big like that. And now I click. I'm going to zoom again, extents. So I'm going to type Z, enter, E, enter. Notice how it now shows me the extents based on this additional circle. So if I keep providing more information here, it will continue to zoom me out. If I take this circle, for example, right now, and I come over here and I click erase. So I'm in my home tab, modify panel. I click erase. I select the circle, and then I enter. It makes it go away. And now if I type zoom extents again, Z, enter, E, enter, this is the extent of my drawing. That's my intro. This is us just playing around with AutoCAD. No stress here. You can navigate, you can manipulate. Showed you how to draw some lines, drew in a couple of circles. We're just scratching the surface. And with the assignment that we're going to do next, we're going to continue to, go past this and start getting more into some of these drawing aids so we can construct a precise architectural drawing, and you can be on your way. Go ahead and close out of this drawing. Just close it. And save changes. I will say no, we don't need to save any of this. Go ahead. And now it's going to take you back to your main screen. And from here, we'll pause right there. And this is where we're going to pick it up to begin the next drawing assignment.